Viewers, the July 20th clash between the police and pro-CJP protesters near Delhi's Jantar Mantar refuses to fade from headlines. 8 days later, the incident has evolved into a clash of two competing narratives. Fresh evidence points to the use of non-lethal weapons by the police, while also raising questions over the alleged presence of hardened criminals amongst the protesters. What does this evidence really tell us? For the government, the relief that came from Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan's defense now appears to have been short-lived. Till yesterday, viral videos showed 3 people with clusters of tiny red marks on their bodies, injuries that were alleged to have been caused by pellet guns fired by the Rapid Action Force during the July 20th clashes. The leader of opposition, Rahul Gandhi, brought one of the injured protesters before the media and accused the police of using excessive force to disperse the protest. Initially, CRPF attributed the alleged use of a pellet gun to one of its personnel and promised an inquiry. While authorities did not acknowledge the use of pellet guns during the Delhi clashes, fresh evidence is now being cited as challenging those denials. What exactly are we talking about? Well, the police document that was accessed today by Times Now contains a series of startling revelations. It suggests that for the first time in Delhi, pellet rounds were deployed during a law and order operation. According to this document, the Rapid Action Force personnel fired pellets at protesters. The same document, which is a general diary entry, also records that anti-riot guns were used twice during this operation. It further points to what it describes as the first recorded use of electric shock patterns in Delhi. Now, this document also suggests that the use of these so-called non-lethal weapons was authorized at a senior level, with the operation allegedly carried out under the directions of a Deputy Commissioner of Police rank officer of the Delhi Police. It talks about 55 non-electrical shells that were used. It also refers to 15 electrical shells. There's also talk of 5 tear smoke grenades that have been fired. There's also 2 anti-riot guns that are referred to it, and 2 rounds of plastic pellets that are also referred to it as far as this particular document is concerned. The biggest question now is this: who actually made the general diary entry that has now become central to the July 20th controversy? Top sources have told Times Now that this entry was recorded by the duty officer. But the focus is now shifting to the authorization trail. According to sources, investigators will examine the DCP's authorization form, which is expected to detail the nature and extent of force approved for deployment. The sources further indicate that while the diary entry was made by the duty officer, it was recorded on the instructions of the RAF Deputy Commander. What does this really mean? Because this is officially classified as a non-lethal weapon. However, a pellet gun can become deadly when it's fired at close range. What does it involve? It is perhaps the most controversial weapon that has been used as far as crowd control is concerned. It's classified as a non-lethal weapon and can turn lethal at very close range. It leads to these tiny injuries which look like dots on the skin, but it can also cause blindness if it penetrates the eye. It can penetrate the skull and the spine as well, and is only used as a last resort. Now, this issue of pellet guns has also found mention in the Supreme Court today. During the hearing, the Chief Justice of India referred to the allegations before the court, including claims that a 19-year-old lost his eyesight after the alleged use of pellet guns. The Chief Justice also noted allegations related to the use of electric batons, a young woman being admitted to the ICU, and claims of lathis fitted with nails being used during the clashes. Now, the July 20th protests are under an even sharper spotlight. According to Delhi police investigators, they've identified 8,073 people, 873 people who were present at the protest site. These 2,873 people were present as the protests intensified at Jantar Mantar. Of these 2,800 odd individuals, 989 have antecedents in heinous offences. 101 people involved in murder, 62 involved in attempt to murder, 284 involvement in dacoity or robbery, 61 individuals involved in rape cases, 6 involved in offences under POCSO, 25 people involved in molestation, 229 involved in offences under the Arms Act, and 135 have involvement in snatching cases. There are 19 individuals involved in kidnapping recorded here as well, 67 in narcotics or NDPS related offences, and therefore the Supreme Court has sent a very clear message. It wants the investigation to be fair, impartial, and free from undue coercion. For now, the court has directed that no coercive action is to be taken against those covered by its order. It has also ordered the release of all arrested minors and directed that students with no criminal antecedents be released as well. At the same time, the court has stressed the importance of preserving every piece of evidence, including CCTV footage and digital records. Most significantly, the Chief Justice has indicated that an independent investigation may be necessary to ensure the truth behind the July 20th clashes is established with complete credibility. Now, these latest revelations, coupled with a petition before the Supreme Court, have intensified the political pressure on the government. The opposition has seized on the developments, stepping up its attack on Union Home Minister. Listen in.
क्या आवश्यकता थी? क्या वे आतंकवादी थे? क्या आतंकवादी हैं?
लेकिन इमरजेंसी में क्या क्या हुआ है वो अभी दिल्ली की राजधानी में भी देखने को मिल गया और लकड़ी में लगा हुआ कुछ कील का और कांटे की चीजें उस समय करंट नहीं लगाया जाता था, इस बार करंट लगाया गया.
Instead of listening to them, what did they receive? The government offered them barricades, danda, police lathi charged, pellets guns were fired on them, tear gas.
किसने आदेश दिया? वो आदेश कहां से आया कि पैलेट गन का इस्तेमाल हो? बिहार में आपने AK-47 का इस्तेमाल किया. ये नौबत है, ये नौबत है.
All right, and in fact, there's breaking news coming in as far as the Delhi police is concerned. They've launched a crackdown on multiple X handles, issuing notices to several account holders and seeking details related to their accounts. The notices pertain to posts in which certain users allegedly used abusive language against Prime Minister and security forces. Those who've received these notices have been asked to furnish relevant account information. The action also extends to some news portals which have been served with similar notices. Let's go across to Priyank for more on this. Priyank, what's the basis on which this action is being taken? Is it purely abusive language? Is there misinformation? What exactly is being cited as the grounds?
See, Madhav, while the CJP continues to put pressure on the government, they have once again threatened that they will go for the mass protest. The Delhi police continues its investigation because there have been several handles which have been violating the IT rule of the country, where the abusive language has not only been used against various individuals, but also the Prime Minister of the country. Not even that, there have been series of misinformation campaigns which have been launched by several X handles, following to which the Delhi police have written it to X to withheld few of the account, and few of the account information has been sought by the police official because many of the location of the IP addresses are yet to be known. On the other side, we saw that throughout the evening, the CJP kept on continuing and threatening the government that if at all the cases won't be withdrawn, and if all those individuals who are being picked up by the police official in various states would stop, they will go for the mass protest.
Priyank, stay with us because there's some more breaking coming in. In fact, the Central Bureau of Investigation, or the CBI, has filed a charge sheet in the NEET UG 2026 question leak case against 13 arrested accused for offences of criminal conspiracy, cheating, criminal breach of trust, destruction of evidence and others under the BNS for offences of criminal misconduct under the Prevention of Corruption Act and for offences under the Public Examination Prevention of Unfair Means Act 2024. CBI cited 360 witnesses, 420 documents and 43 material objects. Let's go across to Bhavtosh. Bhavtosh, now we believe that all of these accused persons who've been charge sheeted are in judicial custody as on date, even as Parliament is in the process of enacting the law. But the larger question is, this has omitted any NTA individuals or officials amongst the accused, we are told. Why is that the case? Because at earlier stages of investigation, the remand notes had suggested the involvement of officials in the NTA as well.
Yes, Madhav. In fact, CBI has more or less completed its investigation. They took over the investigation on 12th of May, and after carrying out investigation for over 2 months, CBI has filed its first charge sheet, and the first charge sheet mentions specifically the role of 13 individuals who have been arrested. They have said the insider, as far as they are concerned, are the examination paper setter, including PV Kulkarni, who was a chemistry paper examination setter, and others. The job that were given to them was to translate all the papers from English to Marathi, and that's the reason why they have access to all the papers. Another important person who has been arrested was Shivraj Motegaonkar, who paid around 5 lakh rupees to PV Kulkarni, and that's how the chain have been established. They've also got the money trail and other important documents, and they have said that they have established that it was within examination paper setters that this paper was leaked, and subsequently life of at least 23 lakh students were also put at risk.
All right, Bhavtosh and Priyank, thanks so much for joining us with those breaking updates. And a short while earlier, I spoke to two senior police officials about these reports coming in as far as the pellet gun is concerned and the implications of this as far as the probe further and what we can expect in coming days. Listen into this conversation with Dr. Vikram Singh and Shashikant. And for more of this, let's go right across to our guest. Joining us with us is Mr. Vikram Singh, former IPS officer and former DGP of Uttar Pradesh. With us also is Shashikant, former DGP of Punjab. Mr. Vikram Singh, let me come to you first. The Delhi police had repeatedly denied, when the news first came last week, that any pellet guns were used. But Delhi police's own diary entry of the Parliament Street police station has recorded the use of pellet guns along with other ammunition. How is this discrepancy possible? Because it appears that Delhi police has been a little economical with the truth, to put it mildly.
Good evening, gentlemen. I would say that it is absolutely bizarre and unacceptable. The GD entry is the ultimate truth, and I would say that it is the most conclusive evidence that is admissible even in the Supreme Court of India. Now, to say that once you open fire at the directions of the DCP and a GD entry is made at 1:24 a.m., I really see no reason why they should not have come out with the ground reality and the facts, because the first thing to do is the counting of ammunition, putting the GD entry, and then coming out with a press note, keeping the record straight. Not to do so and delaying it also gives reason for suspicion. Why are you trying to misappropriate the empty shells and the cartridges? Are you trying to handle the number of ammunition used? Therefore, I would say it is inexperience and lack of professionalism that brought about the delay. And this lack of professionalism has brought embarrassment to the Delhi police and to the RAF both. It is best that we have seen such, and so has Mr. Shashikant. It is always better to be transparent, prompt, and therefore not to try to conceal facts, because everything is known to one and all. Our constabulary is highly educated. Gone are the days when you would expect the constabulary to abide by all kinds of nonsense and untruths. Today, the constables are as upright as any IPS officer would be. My advice to be straightforward and transparent. Therefore, it is not in anybody's interest to conceal the fact, to come out with the truth at the earliest.
Right. And, you know, I think that is the most important point. The fact that nothing was communicated for the first 4 to 5 days. And obviously in that gap of or that vacuum of information, misinformation creeps in and all sorts of allegations come in. You know, the point, Mr. Shashikant, also, the kind of explanation being given to us now, we believe there was a high-level meeting at the police headquarters in the national capital. And the officials are now saying that the DCP who allegedly ordered the firing of the pellet gun was not present at the location mentioned in the general diary. What do we make of this kind of explanation?
What did you say? That's my reaction. What did you say, sir? That's my reaction. It's really surprising. Like my senior Mr. Vikram Singh has said, that it's totally bizarre. It's just not possible. That means somebody had been fiddling with records. Somebody had been playing mischief with records. It's absolutely unacceptable. This explanation is bizarre and cannot be accepted even in worst of the dreams of best of the dreams. That's what I'll say, sir.
Right. And, you know, Mr. Vikram Singh, I also want you to come in on the fact that pellet guns were used themselves. Now, we know in Jammu Kashmir what has happened from, you know, I think around 2010 to 2016. There was all sorts of maiming, blinding, etc. that happened. I think that is all out there in the public domain. How did these pellet guns land up in the national capital, and that too to quell, you know, a protest outside Parliament? What possibly could have happened? Who's making these decisions is something we still don't know about.
You say the entire handling of the agitation, you are the very most prestigious channel in the country, and I would say the nation listens to you. It was absolutely knee-jerk. I mean, I'm eating the salt. I'm a namak halal of the police force, but it's also in my interest not to condone such blunders as well. Knee-jerk reactions that come. I mean, First of all, if the DCP is not there, then he has no moral right or even the legal right even to sign the document. Therefore, his authority is absolutely illegal. Number two, when in Jammu and Kashmir, the pellet guns were supposed, because of the mayhem that they created, that they should not be used, they were again used under whose instructions and orders? When the civil police is not authorized to use pellet guns, why did the RAF use it in the first place? And agreed that you did use it, then why conceal the facts for 5 days? You should come out with the truth, admitted that you used it. In any case, in matters of escalation, it is water cannon, tear gas, lathi charge, and then pellet guns. You did not take recourse to rubber bullets or solid bullets. Therefore, legally and morally, you would have been very safe if you had come out with the truth that yes, we fired 2 rounds of pellet guns, and yes, under the order of the DCP. And under these circumstances, one untruth is leading to another.
That's an unfortunate state of affairs. But let me also bring in, the other side of the story. Mr. Shashikant, the Delhi police has been on record, and you would have seen the reports where they say that their FRS software has captured 2,800 criminal elements over the 5 days at Jantar Mantar near the protest area. So their claim is that, and these are heinous crimes, they're accused of murder, rape, POXO cases, so on and so forth. There's a whole list of such cases. It's widely reported in the media. So their assumption then is that because there were such criminal elements, can we then go ahead and give in to these demands that are coming in from the protesters that all the FIR should be, then quashed, because over 100 police personnel were also amongst the injured. It's not just protesters who are being acted against.
A couple of points, sir. Number one, we police forces, the guidelines are issued by BPRND, Bureau of Police Research and Development. Their guidelines clearly say that pellet guns are not something to be issued to the state police forces. A section of CRPF and other paramilitary forces, they are indeed given this thing. And they are again a detailed SOP how these weapons are to be used. So how did, number one, these guns landed there? And secondly, again, under whose orders they were fired? And then, now, I've heard of this particular thing. There's so many criminals were there, etc., etc. I'm not sure whether you've read Mahabharata or not. There was a character there called Sanjay. You could see he had a divine eye. He could see everything. The worst thing is Sanjay sitting there and trying to monitor how many criminals are there. And last point, it was a massive failure, not only knee-jerk reaction, but it was a massive failure of intelligence. Whenever an agitation takes place, they have to see how many, they have to assess how many persons are coming. And certainly it's very likelihood that antisocial elements, criminals might join in. In such a contingency, these persons are kept under close watch. I don't think it happened either. Thank you.
Right. And Mr. Vikram Singh, that is a very, very important point, because the Supreme Court has come out and, in its orders today, it has made some observations. It has said that they will, of course, have to protect those students who are genuine protesters, etc. It has stopped any kind of, action that is going to be taken against these individuals. But they have also not accepted the demands, including withdrawal of the FIRs. With the court coming out to say that the drone footage, CCTV footage, body cameras, wireless records, all have to be preserved. How do we now know what will happen in this entire case? Because, there are both sides are claiming that there were excesses upon them.
Please understand, as Mr. Shashikant Ji has mentioned, it was the job of the police to anticipate, expect, and be ready for the situation rather than the situation overwhelming us. When I say us, I mean the Delhi police. Now what has really happened is the Delhi police will have to work overtime with the IB and other intelligence outfits, gather all the video footages. They already have around 2,800 of them, and they have been able to identify 989 criminals accused of murder, attempt to commit murder, rape, POXO cases, dacoity, and robberies. Well, the job of the police is to sanitize and those keep away the legitimate and genuine students, and also isolate the criminal elements from them. And then the criminal elements, when they use firearms and they use missiles and Molotov cocktails, they have to identify and charge sheeted separately. Obviously, the Supreme Court directions are very clear. Please keep the students away from any drastic and punitive action, and please do not spare. Be very unsparing to the criminal elements. But as Mr. Shashikant Ji mentioned, in any police bandobast, you identify the troublemakers and keep the peace-loving and those who are abiding with the rule of law separately. But we mixed up bungled up so badly that we mixed up everything. And today, I think it is doable now because we have woken up rather late.
Right. Now, one of the interesting things, Mr. Shashikant, is that while the Chief Justice has observed in today's hearing that whoever has used excessive force against innocents, law must take its own course. And they've also talked about the possibility of some kind of investigation that takes place, which is above the regular police investigation. But the interesting reaction coming in from the CJP is that they have added, and this is Saurav Das, who's a spokesperson, that the court's uninformed order is therefore wholly unacceptable. Is it right to therefore ask for blanket immunity even if there is no investigation that is complete in such a case? What can be done here?
Sir, we have a rule of law in this country, as Vikram sir, my senior, will endorse it. And anybody who breaks the law or takes the law into one's hand has to be dealt with as per the law of the land, as simple as that. Whether they were protesters, whether there was any policeman, whether it's me or you or Vikram sir or anybody. Rule of law is the ultimate thing. Here, one thing more I'd like to add, sir. Look, this particular knee-jerk reaction, again, it exposes Delhi police. There has to be a regular riot drill. This section of the armed police forces is specially kept to control this thing. It appears nobody was there. The entire reaction was absolutely knee-jerk, as sir has said. So it again exposes Delhi police all the more. What was their preparedness? Did they not anticipate? Were they sleeping about it? And all of a sudden, like it happens normally, so when such police station will so many persons, such thana will send so many persons, armed police will send so many persons. It's just again a totally knee-jerk reaction. And again, lastly, yes, I go as per the directions of the Honorable Supreme Court. Yes, his country is governed by a rule of law, and that has to prevail.
But Mr. Shashikant, there are certain states, Bihar, for instance, we broke that news just last night on the same show. Today, news coming in from Maharashtra that FIRs have been quashed. So the problem then will be that how can there be an incongruency? If in other states the FIRs are being quashed against the same protesters, then shouldn't we logically expect the same thing to happen in Delhi?
Sir, any action by any state police doesn't supersede the orders of the Supreme Court. Supreme Court is supreme. Once they have said it, I'm sure the state police or various state police forces which they have done it, withdrawn the cases, they'll have to sit on it again, reconsider, reopen the case, and go strictly as per the directions of the Supreme Court of this country.
Right. And Mr. Vikram Singh, I'd like you to come in on the entire escalation matrix. Obviously, these weapons cannot be the first weapon of choice when it comes to crowd control. There is lathi charge, there is tear gas, there are all sorts of options that police have. What do you think was really the sort of immediate factor for them opening fire, using those shock patterns? In some cases, there are allegations of lathis with nails also being used. What do you think would have led to this actually happening? Is this a huge error of judgment, or have they followed the proper protocols and procedure in terms of the escalation matrix when it comes to these kind of law and order situations?
My esteemed colleague, Mr. Shashikant, is a very soft-spoken person, and he is very, very vitriolic today. And I'm happy about that, and my congratulations to you, because the rule of law is supreme and one should be unsparing. Now, to say that you use force only when your homework is not done, I would have been very satisfied if 100 top leaders were booked under the preventive action and preventive arrest, and not a single preventive arrest made. This is blunder number one. Number two, 25 lakhs of surety bonds for keeping the peace and maintaining law and order. If not, one would be poorer by 25, not a single case of bail bonds being furnished as by way of surety. If this had been done, intensive patrolling and picketing done, crowd monitored by drone and physically and by the intelligence, rest assured, the crowds do not descend from the skies or just emerge like mushrooms from the soil. We allowed the grass to grow underneath the feet. And then the escalation is such. Number one, warning, water cannon. Warning, tear gas. Warning, lathi. And last but not the least, then there's warning, loud hailer. And there's 3 times warning. Balwaiyon, तुम्हारा मजमा खिलाफ कानून किया जाता है. भाग जाओ, भाग जाओ, भाग जाओ. वरना तुम्हारे ऊपर रबर बुलेट चलाई जाएगी. नहीं भागते हो, रबर बुलेट. The one who has to be fired, the commander of the platoon will not say, he'll just attack, man in the checkered shirt, aim below the waist and fire. But when you use water cannons effectively and lathi charge, I have never seen a situation where you would have to use either a pellet gun or a rubber bullet ever. You have a no-nonsense approach towards the task at hand. And as Mr. Shashikant said, the internal security scheme has to be rehearsed every month, so that every action becomes a reflex action, repetition, internalization, till it becomes a habit. Here, ye kya jagah hai dosto? Everybody was like Alice in Wonderland. I'm sorry to say, I'm a part of the police fraternity, but it is good to admit where our shortcomings are.
Well, very well spoken, sir. Mr. Vikram Singh and Mr. Shashikant, I'd like to thank you so much as senior members of the force for sharing your views so articulately. And of course, it's important. If there are mistakes made, then one has to admit it and move on so that such mistakes do not happen again. End of the day, we are talking about a very, very important VVIP location. It's next to the country's parliament, our seat of democracy. We're also talking about what happened to be a student protest. Perhaps there were lumpen elements that got involved, but does that justify this kind of excess? And have those excesses happened? Unfortunately, the kind of reports coming in do seem to suggest that. Thank you so much, Mr. Shashikant and Dr. Vikram Singh, for joining us.
Thank you.